I'm glad it exists. Some people don't think about other perspective of how people live or their daily living or how they adapt to whatever life they have. So I'm glad it exists, and there are students who have the passion for it, and they all have open minds and subjective to everything. And ADA, it's a big part of everything. So now that I take ADA in consideration, everywhere I go, I'm critiquing it. Like, oh my God, I can't fit, or it's too high, or it's too long, or the incline, or there's steps and you have to walk 25 feet to an elevator. So I think you have to be in that life or that perspective to know what to look for.
I think it's fantastic that the curriculum writers at the school, such as yourself and some of the other people here, have the foresight to start including this in the program. This is really like an uncharted water, at least in my time period. And if you're teaching this at the school, that's awesome, because you'll have a new generation coming out that's going to go into the workforce with at least an understanding. Whether they continue on this path or not, they have an understanding of it. So when they design things, they can get the whole design team online to do it above and beyond just the standard code ADA nonsense. Because it's what Bree said, a lot of it's individualized, especially for a residential type thing. So I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing here. My interaction with the students was pretty awesome. I think that the whole ADA market, in terms of residential, is there's a great need for it. As I was talking to the professor here earlier, me and my father used to build homes for the VA for people in wheelchairs 30 years ago, and 30 years now I'm in a wheelchair, so I have some experience with it. But it was really not very mainstream back when 30 years ago when I was doing it with my father. I've since do big commercial work now, but I think that there's a definite need for it. I think that the housing tract that we were in was absolutely not designed with any type of forethought for any kind of ADA thing. And the other thing I think that was interesting, the students picked up on that. I also think too that hopefully they came away from walking around and looking that it's not so much ADA right now. If you buy a home, your mortgage is 30 years, and you'll move around a couple of times, but eventually you're going to settle down. So the question is, when you're designing a home, you have to think long term in terms of, will this person be in a wheelchair later on down the road? Design a home with 3/0 doors, 36 inches. Every door in the house, every one. It's not that much more money than a 28-inch door. But those kind of forethought thinking of the future will help. Single ranch story home, things of that nature. So students, I thought were awesome, because they just got a different perspective on it, I thought.
Oh yeah, I like the fact that they were very open to all of our opinions. And like to piggyback on what Lauren said, you do have to compensate for wider floor plans, or like the stairs in the house. There were a lot of stairs. Like even if it was maybe 3 or 4, that could be all right. But there was like a whole flight of stairs, and you're tired before you get to the top. So I would say like bigger single story homes would be
Ranches.
Yeah, that would be more
Ranch.
more compensate for ADA factors.
Yeah. So your cabinets in your kitchen, that you need to have the sink away from the other piece so you can rotate around. So anyways, things like that. It was really really good for the students, I thought, to see us stumble around in there. She walks better than me, so I was doing a lot. I brought my wheelchair actually.
And that was pretty good.
Just so they could see how stuck I was.
Yeah.
And I actually put them in a wheelchair and said, go ahead, have a chance. And then they got stuck.
Oh yeah, it can be very frustrating, especially if that's the way you live your life. You want to be in a home where you're gonna be comfortable in. You can use all your medical devices without any hazardous encounters, anything that's blocking the floor, or like another thing that was a good idea, like putting forces on like the bottom panels of the wall. Because where I used to be in a wheelchair. All the walls are scratched up.
My house is My house is completely trashed
scratched
right
up,
now.
and it's lower where the panels would be. So I thought like you kind of reinforcing the bottom of the walls.
Wainscot, right?
Oh yeah.
Wainscot the
yeah.
walls. We used to do that a lot too.
A
Plastic.
lot of grab bars or rails should be along there because the older you get, you might need something to hold on to, and that would play a factor into that.